some days I'm like, oh, the world can suck my dick. Other days I'm like, oh my God, like, what, they're going to say mean things about me, you know? And then I call my friends and they're like, what are they going to say? You're an idiot? like, what's new here? Like, oh, Steve-O did something crazy?
Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to another episode of the X5 Podcast. I'm your host, David Lynham. I'm co-hosted today with my old pal, Jeff Allen.
What's up?
And the Casio Kid. And Charlie Reese is in the house today. I want to give a shout out to our producer extraordinaire back here, Eric Fullerton, everybody.
All right, Eric.
Hey,
and also Terry. Cannot forget Terry, because I have to talk to him after the episode. If I forget him, I'll hear about it. Our guest today is... Guy, he's a podcaster. He's a comedian now. He's a
legend.
I mean, he's an absolute legend. He's an animal rights activist. Somebody that's done more than most people I've seen that call themselves animal activists.
And I've seen his butthole more than any grown man's butthole ever in my life.
Y'all make some noise for the legend Steve-O.
Steve-O, what's up, buddy?
Well, it's good to be here, guys. Thank you. We're here in Alabama.
Yeah.
Man, what a compound here, dude. This is,
Thank you.
I guess a lot of people probably say, wow, this place is impressive.
Well, they do, but it doesn't get old hearing it, so thanks so much.
The security through
When
obscurity.
you built the compound, you like hearing about the compound.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
dude,
cool.
it's fantastic, man. And very, very, very appreciated. See, we are traveling on this kind of crappy RV, which
That's crappy?
Are you serious?
I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's nowhere near a Prevost.
Yeah.
And you know, I've got at the moment, you know, the bus driver plus 4 guys. So you know, we're all on there. Like we
Smells
got,
good, doesn't it?
Yeah, we got boxes of merch piled up in the shower.
Nice.
So the shower's not operable.
Aw.
And dude, we literally I was still asleep, of course. I'm not really a morning guy, so thanks for starting this in the afternoon.
Yeah, no problem.
But when we got to the last venue, the guys got off the bus. I guess next door to the venue is a homeless encampment.
Yes.
And the guys got off the bus. They were waiting for an Uber to take them to go get some coffee or some food. And a homeless guy walked by them and said, "Man, you guys smell like shit."
You haven't been on tour long, have you?
I know, that was the first stop. That was the first stop, dude. Like,
I got on smelling like shit.
I know. I mean, dude, like you guys, I'm telling you, my armpits were like fermented when I walked into this compound last night, and I was just like, wow. Man, thank God for the shower, dude. And dude, the bidet on that toilet.
I forgot to leave.
How about it? Let's talk. It's every episode of Guest Talk tonight.
Everybody loves the bidet.
I mean, dude, you know, like I've got the Tushy bidet, and I always say on my podcast that it is my number one favorite sponsor of my podcast, and I mean it.
Yeah.
And wow. I can't believe nobody else complained or told me, shut up, dude. We got other sponsors.
Did you think you'd be in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, and walk in and there's a bidet with a remote?
I mean, let me ask you a bidet question.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you start the stream of water before or after you poop?
So this is so
Great question, by the way.
I'm going to answer that. Then Cassia is going to also chime in on that. Now, what I do, like, you know, if I have to really work one up, you know, if I haven't been eating a lot of fiber over the last few days, I'm trying to get my diet reeled in to get healthy. And so then I'll do a little stream for about 20 seconds, then I'll cut it off. Then I'll do my business, and then, of course, then cut it back on after.
You're like lubing the pipes?
I'm lubing the pipes.
Dude, I just keep it blasting the whole time.
Do you really?
Yeah. Yeah, like a little party game.
I'm gonna have to fucking repaint that bathroom over there.
Are you're warming up your sphincter?
Yeah, loosening it
It's
up.
like a shit tie-dye in there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but in any case, dude, it's just fantastic, and I was so grateful to get that shower. I couldn't figure out how to adjust the temperature on
I
that
need
shower.
to leave. You know what? Tom May, my buddy, we were talking yesterday, and he goes, dude, he said, I figured it out. He comes down a pretty good bit and does some content with us and stuff. And he's like, you need to make like a dummy sheet for the shower. He said, because it's difficult to figure out.
It's got that switch on it for the thermostat.
Yeah. Did you finally figure it out?
Nah, I just took a cold shower. I needed it so bad.
Well, there was another whole bathroom with another shower in there. If you,
yeah, okay.
It's a little easier to use. It's
I'm
not
done.
complicated.
That's okay. No, I was like, fuck.
You got outsmarted by the
And
shower.
I was thinking to myself too, like, cold shower. You know, back in the day, I really would be bummed out by that. But now I'm like, I know all about the health benefits of cold plunging. So I was like, let's go.
Dude, that sucks because both bathrooms are on aqua hot systems. So you could take a 2-hour shower over there and never run out of hot water.
Yeah, dude,
With
nice.
He's about to test that.
Yeah. So I'll make sure to run over there and show the guys, whoever still needs to get a shower and stuff, that to adjust the temperature.
Cool, man.
So you said, speaking of cold plunge, you were talking to us out there. So by the way, happy belated birthday. You just had a big one.
Happy
Yeah, I
birthday,
just
buddy.
turned 50.
Yep.
The big five.
Remember what you
Holy
thought about
shit.
50-year-olds when you were 21?
Oh, dude.
You were like, they're about to die, dude. If they died today, it'd be natural causes. Nobody even ask any questions.
Yeah, dude. And it's a big one, man. And I kind of embraced it this time around. I mean, not so much, but like I particularly hate birthdays.
Me too. From playing in a band, people say it's my birthday I'm so tired of my own birthday.
Right. Yeah, dude. Like the phones, bam, 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 all day long. Like there's just too much texting. I still have like 40 texts to respond to, and my birthday was like pushing 2 weeks ago. Like, so I get buried in texts, and I'm an entire year older.
Yeah.
There's
Like, what's to celebrate?
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you stop really? Well, no, you had a pretty big party. You had some.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the only birthday that I really like celebrated in a meaningful way.
Yeah, that suit you had on was.
Thanks, man. Yeah, like I remember, like when I turned 26 years old, I was working in a circus, and I showed up, didn't even tell anybody it was my birthday. I was bummed. I was like, I'm 26. It's all downhill from here.
Yeah. Mortified that you're 26.
Then when I turned 30, I like hid out at my sister's house. I was just like, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just off the radar. Like it was a really traumatic event. I felt like it was just not okay for me to be 30. And then my last tour, that was my bucket list tour. I started off by saying, I'm in a messed up situation. I'm steveo in my 40s. You know,
Obviously never planned for this.
Dude, definitely never thought I'd make it to 40. But yeah, it was kind of funny, like the steveo, because it hits you like, oh, steveo in his 40s. You know, ooh, that's kind of tough.
Right.
But now I'm in this situation where it's like, steveo in my 50s, not quite so funny.
Man, it's all good.
You know, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, like being, just scared and like recognizing that my livelihood's always been based on being childish and immature. You know, so it is tough for me. But now it's like, all right. Like, screw it.
Dude.
I mean, he's got a dick on his face that I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
Which it's crazy. People are talking about it like it's crazy. It doesn't even crack the top 50 craziest shit you've ever done, you know? That's why it's weird that it...
I mean, it's pretty low stakes the way I see it. Like, I could get it lasered off. I've had tattoos lasered off. My knuckles used to have the swear words on them, and now they're perfectly clean. Yeah. And, like, admittedly... It was, like I wanted to get a bunch of attention, and it was a publicity stunt. And I knew that doing it would bring about like a lot of negativity, but I just figured, screw it, it's better to get attention, even if a lot of it's negative.
Yeah.
Like I kind of feel like that's always been my MO, so nothing's really changed. It's just that the negative stuff maybe is a little bit tougher because it's like, oh, now he's 50. It's not funny anymore. It's just sad. And like, I can't entirely disagree with that. I'm 50. It's sad. What do you want? Like I'm growing old, not up.
But dude, you went out there, you grinded and developed a comedy set that is like respected by all comedians now.
I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say all comedians, but you know what I'm proud of is that I in my now 13 years of performing stand-up, I kind of, it evolved into something that I genuinely believe is original. I thought I'm telling all these stories and a lot of it happened on camera, so why not illustrate the stand-up with like the receipts, it's like, I'm going to tell you this story. You won't even believe it's true. And then I'm going to prove it's true by showing you the video of it.
That just seems like a natural progression from where you were to where you are. I mean, it just seems like that's what you should have done.
It wasn't intentional. It happened gradually. And now now I've just got this multimedia format, which is unique. It's original. I call it show and tell.
Yeah.
If you compare it to like what some of the TikTokers are doing that fill up clubs, it's way more original than any of that stuff. Like by comparison.
I think so, and we don't need to harp on it or people start bagging on me. But
it's a great show.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. And the other thing too that motivated it was being a YouTube guy like for now more than a decade. Like it feels like kind of like restrictive, like a lot of things you can get in trouble, like, oh, this is age restricted or you got to strike for that one. It's like having to kind of like tiptoe around all the community guidelines, like got a little bit frustrating. So I just wanted to lash out and just do stuff that was like wildly inappropriate, do stuff that would like absolutely not be able to be played anywhere except like,
steveo.com.
Pretty much, yeah. So like kind of going out of my way to be like wildly naughtier than is acceptable has been kind of the MO.
Yeah.
Did you said you worked in a circus?
It did, yeah.
Was it the circus in Sunrise?
It was.
So look, man,
I
used to live in Hollywood.
Cool.
And I remember going there. I was poor as shit. So we went there. So it's this cool, like, it was this indoor flea market mall.
Dude, it was more than that. It was officially the world's largest drive-in movie theater.
Yeah.
With some like, I don't know, 14, 17 screens.
It was
like,
a huge complex.
It wasn't a traveling circus. It was a...
No.
Right. It was in one spot. So it was the world's largest drive-in movie theater. They had that locked. But it was also like a flea market on a scale that like certainly has some kind of record.
It sounds like not cool, but it was cool. Like they had a big indoor part, and then they had a big outdoor part too.
Like the flea markets of America or something?
So, dude,
it was massive.
It was fucking ridiculous.
And it had an amusement park with like actual roller coasters and shit.
That sounds interesting.
It's still open today?
Yeah, but it also had a residence circus in there. And the circus, I think maybe there was one off day per week.
Jeez.
But they had like 2 shows a lot of days on Saturday and Sunday. Or Saturday they had 3 shows, I think. So there were like 10 shows per week, as I recall. And there were 3 elephants in the circus. Those were the elephants where I saved up all the elephant poo.
Yeah.
And one of the first ever episodes of Jackass was me climbing up a ladder and doing flips into elephant poo. Yeah. Like I saved
your
up,
own circus?
from the flea market circus.
That's great.
They had a tiger as well, which I found pretty upsetting because the tiger was part of a magic act, and they would wheel this tiger out. They would wheel this box out, and to look at the box was just like plexiglass and it appeared to be completely empty. And then they would put a cloth over the empty box and spin it around, and then they would rip off the cloth, and then now all of a sudden, right before your eyes, this whole plexiglass box is filled with a huge tiger. It was like legitimately like an impressive illusion.
Right.
But the reality was that this tiger, like that filled up this entire box, spent its whole life being transferred from that box to this other cage, which was also just about the length of its body. And its whole life, it was just going back and forth between the cage and that box, the cage and that box. And I remember that really was what started my whole animal rights thing. I was like, man, screw this. That tiger, screw this, man. That tiger's not happy.
Animals, dude, like me and my wife are huge, like our little dogs are like our kids, we're super like, and they have feelings and they have emotions and they're just, they're great creatures. I'm with you. That's so fucking disappointing.
It's like keeping a man in a cage. I mean, it's like putting you in a cage and leaving you there. Screw all that.
I remember being backstage too, and one of the transfers, like the tiger was like lashing out, and like people were just freaked. And I remember my first day working in that circus, like they were like, and stay the fuck away from the elephants. Do not like. And I remember thinking like, man, these people are scared of their own elephants, like, and ultimately I think that circus, they were like animal rights people around. They were like always on the lookout for it. I told them too while I was working there because I did my filming for the Jackass pilot right before I started in that circus.
Oh, okay.
And when I found out that the series had been ordered by MTV, that we were actually going to be on MTV with 8 episodes and that we were going to film them, I knew that Knoxville and the crew was going to fly to Florida to do my filming for the whole first season. And I knew when. And I told the circus owners, hey, this MTV crew, I was like, I'm going to be famous. This MTV crew is coming. And, they're going to film me in the show. And like, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're going to be famous. That's great. All right. And then specifically on exactly the day that I said this was going to happen, the crew shows up, exactly what I said was going to happen. And like they filmed my performance in the circus. Knox was there, and the circus owner's like, the hell are these assholes doing filming my elephants? And I was like, dude, I told you they were coming. I told you they're going to film. And like, this is MTV. Like I said, that like, they're not going to like give you an opportunity to sue them. They're going to like, they're not going to show anything that they can't show. And, I left for the 5 days of filming precisely as I said that I would. Came back 5 days later with, having been bitten by a shark, like just completely mangled and like just hungover and sleepless and just stoked. And I showed up and the circus owner said, we can't afford to keep you around anymore. You got to go. So I was fired.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, hey, by the way, so if you're watching, hey, fuck you guys. Flea Market and Sunrise.
Oh, that fuck you was sent to him a long time ago.
Yeah, you know what? Like, and I'm not. I get it, man. Like, I don't even I'm not like upset about it or anything. It was just like a crazy situation because and I got paid in cash every week. I got paid $500.
Yeah.
And every week I owed that money to the drug dealer because I had a legitimate drug problem even back then before Jackass.
Was that in? I was down there in like 94, 95, 96.
Okay, that's before me.
Okay.
I graduated from Clown College in 97, and I was in the circus from, I want to say maybe like March of year 2000 through like August of year 2000, about 6 months.
Yeah, I got you.
So that I got fired from that, and then it was a matter of waiting to get paid for the first season of Jackass. And in the first season of Jackass, they paid me like per bit, not like per episode.
Yeah.
Per bit.
Even if it didn't air, if you did the bits, you got paid for it.
I don't know if I think it had to air for some reason, but I'm not sure. And like after the 5 days, I wrote down like everything I expected to be paid for, and the paid like the compensation was based on whether it was like legitimately like in harm's way kind of stunt where you could get really hurt, or if it was like just an easygoing like sight gag, kind of a low impact prank. So for the former, the dangerous stuff, I got $500 per bit.
That's why you were so hard in the paint back in those days, right?
Well, it wasn't even for that, but for the latter, the low impact pranks, it was $200 per bit.
Yeah.
And on the last day, the last day of those 5 days that I filmed that first season in, like I pulled out a piece of paper, not to like itemize what I was owed for, but just rather to like emphasize what I thought was worthy of being on the show. You know, like this is what I want to make sure you guys put on the show. And like the first thing I had done was swallow the goldfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember writing down goldfish. And I thought, well, I might as well write next to it, like kind of like on a restaurant menu, like what I expect to be paid, you know?
Market price.
Right.
Good for you.
And so like I wrote down goldfish, and I thought about it. Next to it, I wrote 200. When it's like, in hindsight,
Yes.
that's insane. Like I could have absolutely choked to death. I could have absolutely choked to death on that goldfish. Like it could have gone down backwards, like and just done total damage to me. But my mentality was it wasn't that I was going hard in the paint to get more money. Like I wanted to be considered the gnarliest guy ever.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to be like, oh yeah, that was just kind of funny. Like I'm so gnarly, I don't even want.
Oh, that's how you were pricing it. So
that's how gnarly I am. That goldfish, $200. That's who you're dealing with, baby.
Top that, Knoxville.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Keep
dude,
your extra 300 MTV. I
yeah,
don't
you
need
just
it.
keep it.
Yeah, I don't need it. I'm doing good.
Dude,
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Homeless, unemployed, completely broke, but doing good. Because that's the thing. I was also home. I got fired from the circus because they filmed the elephants. And with the right, and then with the elephant poo, okay, I was living with my sister.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we kind of come back to the house and set up the elephant poop, like right here, okay? Now, this is the most outrageous fucking shit ever. I like a whole kiddie pool heaped so high with elephant poo, and I'd been saving it up, so there was literally maggots crawling in this elephant poo. All kinds of it. And a 10-foot ladder, and I'm climbing up and doing the flips and all this stuff. We get the bit, and the producer says, "All right, man, now we're gonna clean this up." And I said, "Nope."
My collection.
I said, "You leave that there. You leave that there. I will deal with it later." You know? because I didn't want to be like, you know, a pain in the ass. I wanted to be the guy that's like the team player.
That's right.
Like, you know, I wanted them to be stoked on me. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, no, we're only filming for a couple more days, and then I'll come back and I'll clean it up. Let's just go on the road. I don't want to inconvenience anybody.
Right.
Wow. So we go on the road. But this was South Florida that we're talking about. The weather changes on a dime. And it did. So there was torrential, tropical thunderstorms where it rained so heavily that not only was my sister's house flooded with poo, but also the neighbor's house. I just created a pond, like yeah, that's epic. That's exactly what it was. It was like a multi-property pond of maggot poop, and like my sister was so pissed. she didn't actually kick me out at that point, but it was the next time that I said I would do something and didn't show up for yet another 2 days because I was on a cocaine bender.
Yeah.
Then that was enough. So she
happens.
kicked me out.
It happens.
Wait, 200 for the elephant poo?
No, that I took 500.
I gave you a discount on the goldfish. I'm getting it back.
Well, I mean, like that 10-foot rickety ladder, like doing backflips off the top rung, like that. That's a stunt. That's yeah, that was 500. But after taxes, I definitely made less than $1,500 for the entire first season of Jackass.
Oh, wow.
So,
Really?
No back end, no nothing like that.
so
when did you get somebody that knew how to negotiate involved? Y'all, what did you represent yourself on the first?
Second season.
You know what? I'm still waiting on that person.
He's here today. That's today.
Yeah.
How about the time when, God, I'll never forget the stunt you did where you're walking a fucking tightrope over alligators.
Yeah.
Jeez, what'd you get? That was
I
700
mean, that
for
one was run.
Didn't you put?
You told me you got $650 for that.
Well, no, that was for the first Jackass movie.
That was so great, though.
And
Didn't you put chicken in like stuff?
Yeah, it was fucking.
which was
yeah.
kind of an afterthought. Like I understood that my job was just to get bitten by an alligator that day. Where I thought, you know,
Hey, be creative. Make it happen.
I just kind of thought, well, that was the whole point of the bit was that I'm gonna, you know, and it ended up I didn't get bit by an alligator. And we did the chicken thing in the jockstrap, and like without sustaining any devastating injury, like it was like kind of an iconic bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt like I got away with murder that day.
That guy Manny had to have balls that wouldn't fit in this fucking building, dude.
Dude, yeah, Manny's he's a great guy, man. Like I love Manny so much, and he I genuinely believe that like his relationship with God, you know, his faith, like has everything to do with how he defied all odds.
Because he
You know,
did. Yeah.
people in Manny's line of work, how do you say it? Like
Are blessed.
some of them are old, some of them are bold.
Yeah.
But only Manny is both.
That needs to be a T-shirt on your merch right there. You
Some
go.
of them's old, some of them's bold.
Guys.
So I have to tell you, you did, just so you know, you are the gnarliest guy that ever did Jackass. Like by far.
I think
Hey,
that
wipe your
that's
knees
kind,
No, I'm serious. I mean, I'm serious. Think of the shit he did.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
kind sentiment. But if you really think about it, Knoxville, I would say, has that by a mile. You know,
Really?
like,
Oh, that bull.
I mean, with the bulls, dude. Like, see, I rolled the dice in some major ways, like particularly with sharks. You know, like I wasn't like unlikely to lose my foot when that Mako shark went for my foot with the. And had that happened, that would have I would have bled out for sure because it would have taken us 2 hours to drive back to shore to ride the boat back to shore, and even after 2 hours to get back to shore, it was 2006 and the coast of Louisiana. You know, like Hurricane Katrina had devastated, so the hospitals weren't even really operating. You know, like so there were times when life was on the line. And for that, I'd say, you know, sure, like I get gnarly points, but the thing with Knoxville is that, like, he's like, for me, the bit was to have a close call.
Yeah.
For Knoxville, the bit is to take the devastating blow. You know, like there's no way, like it's not like, ooh, that almost happened. You know, like I always was rolling the dice and having the better chance of getting away with it. Knoxville's just playing Russian roulette with a fully loaded gun. You know, like he's guaranteed to get catastrophic consequences. And that's like with the bulls, man, that's so gnarly.
And nobody has CTE. Y'all all been tested.
You've all been tested.
I think you kind of have
be
to.
dead.
Yeah, you gotta be dead. I think you gotta be dead.
You've been tested like it's a cotton swab. We're
Yeah.
gonna see if he's got brain problems.
It's a fucking urine test, you know, he's in there. Oh my God.
Has anybody ever told you that your voice, the texture of your voice, sounds like Whoopi Goldberg?
I think so.
That's
yeah.
fucking weird.
I was just sitting there listening to Tommy, and I was like, that. If you close your eyes, it almost sounds like Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg?
Yeah, I swear to God, you don't hear that.
I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't hear Whoopi Goldberg.
Absolutely.
I hear steveo.
I've absolutely heard that. And the like Google most asked questions about Steve-O, like always has what happened to Steve-O's voice.
It's just your voice, right? Or it's something
Pretty
happened?
much. I mean, I went to a doctor, like a specific voice doctor, to try to figure it out. Like, is there something with my
Vocal cords.
my vocal cords? Do I have like nodules?
Yeah.
And I had all these theories about what it might be. And the doctor put a scope down, looked at my vocal cords. He said, "Your vocal cords are fine, but what it is that you're using your voice wrong." He pointed out, he's like, "You're using like the muscles at the top, and you're not using the vocal cords properly." And I was just confounded. I was like,
I know no other way to talk.
I was like, so you're telling me after everything I've been through, I just suck at talking?
You tell the guy that runs a podcast.
I just suck at talking. And like that, if I'm honest, the reason that I first went to that guy was because I was feeling self-conscious. I was like, man, I'd like to maybe improve it, and fix it. And I ended up seeing a vocal coach who was having me like speak with it was just like I was doing these exercises which just felt so foreign and weird. And my lady, my fiance, was just like, "Don't fucking change it."
No way.
She's like,
No, it's
fucking,
you. It's
she's
you.
like, I fucking love it. And like, it's trademark,
Yep.
that's she says, "I think it's sexy. That's who you are.
Yes.
Like, don't fucking change it." And
Yeah.
I still like, I gotta just be candid. Like, at times I'm sensitive about it. Like, I'm self-conscious about it.
Yeah.
But I do also get a kick out of how fucking recognizable it is.
It's so recognized.
If we fucking picked up a phone right now and
If you sounded like
I'd
me,
try to
like a
order
Pepperidge
pizza,
Farm guy, it'd be weird.
Trying to order pizza.
I'm telling you, like we could probably do that. Where like I order a pizza, I'd say, it's fucking common that I'm ordering a pizza on the phone.
They guess
And
it.
they're like, "Is this fucking Steve-O?" I did the phone call. Now, like, I'm my diet's shaped up a lot, so I'm not actually ordering pizzas. But yeah, over the phone, it's crazy. And so I get a kick out of that, kinda.
Dude,
It's recognizable. You can be in the other room and you be on TV, and I know exactly who's talking on TV.
David, do you want to bring up anything else? That
I didn't mean to bring up
sensitive
something.
about?
Now I feel like a piece of shit.
He's brought up his age. He's brought
Don't,
up his
dude, don't.
pay.
It's like it's like it's the most fucking like.
Hey, just kill my mic, Terry.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
not-
we'll be out there in a little bit, man. Just wait.
By no means am I suggesting that it bums me out you brought that up. I'm an open book, dude. I'm super happy to talk about whatever.
You got any other afflictions you want to talk about?
Yeah, don't let these guys see a week. If you got a lazy eye, we'll talk about it.
Dude, I've got crazy sensitivities, man. Like I'm like really far more fucking sensitive than than it makes sense for Steve-O to be.
Sure.
And, dude, I just had to delete Reddit off my phone.
Oh, don't
put it
read
on,
that
dude?
shit.
Really?
You know better than why are you reading
I
that
know I
shit?
should.
You should never
Don't
read any
read
of that
that
shit. Don't
I
read
know.
that shit.
Reddit's particularly gnarly.
It's vicious, man.
Do you
Don't
read your
that
comments
shit.
on YouTube?
I like that I actually stopped doing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing was that like I had this paid membership like subscription thing for like super fans where like all of the people who paid the $9.99 per month had access to like my whole library of Too Hot for
Yeah.
YouTube, like all like they had like dirty versions of everything. And so like it was like kind of that. And anytime that I created new content like that just was too fucked up for putting anywhere, like that gave me a place to put it.
Yeah.
And I would even create special versions of stuff that I was making just for that. But I just had so many different things I was working on with the podcast, with the YouTube, with the touring, this and that like this paid membership wasn't getting the attention that it deserved. And it was just like a black cloud over my head where I felt like really self-conscious about like, man, these people are paying and I'm not like delivering them the value. And I kept saying like, guys, I really feel like I need to just shut this down because I feel like you deserve better than what I'm giving you. And a lot of people are like, no, we like it. And like, you know, people like if they didn't like, they could just unsubscribe. There was never an issue with that. But still, I shut it down because I learned about Reddit and Reddit being a place where you literally can post anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about like violent like crimes or anything.
There's places on there where you can see some pretty fucked up shit.
But yeah, but for anything anything that I would create can absolutely live on Reddit. So I said, you know what, guys, we're gonna. I'm shutting down the membership thing. I shut down the paid thing, and I told everybody just move over to Reddit. We created my own steveo subreddit, and like in there, like I told the people that running. It's really one guy running it, and I was like, dude, like I don't want you to delete anything. I do not want this to be a sanitized like
moderator type shit,
echo chamber of positivity, you know. Like if there's people in here being hateful, like just let it ride, you know. I got to learn to have thicker skin. And for the most part, the Steveo Raw subreddit, you know, like has been like pretty supportive, and every once in a while I get in there and I write like a big update about what's going on. I put a piece of content in there, but it really kind of drew my attention to the much larger Jackass subreddit, and that's one where that it's just a whole community which over the last, you know, I'm not even sure, maybe a couple years, has just turned on me. You know, like I feel like I'm becoming. I'm like the
black sheep of the.
I'm like the Bappa of the Jackass subreddit. You know.
Why do you think they turn it on?
Oh, I know exactly why, and the reason why I had to delete my Reddit app because I read through this. There's been a couple times where I read through a lot of stuff and I was like, man, you know, like I can handle negativity. It's just when I agree with it that it really like that's when it really hurts.
Bothers you. Yeah.
And there's just certain stuff that I agree with, you know, like the main thing. They criticized me for having like become a real shill, you know, like with promoting all my stuff all the time. And that's true, man. Like I've really been like an aggressive promoter of all my merch and my business.
You're a brand.
Yeah, you know, and it's like when I talked to this UFC fighter, and I was like, man, he apologized to me for his last fight being boring.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, bro, you won. You know, like UFC is the only fucking sport where like you win a fight and like people are pissed at you. I'm like, man, all he was trying to do was win. You know, like man, like oh, dude, he was just trying to win, man. What a
decision,
dick. You know, right?
A decision.
Yeah, and you know, and then it's like because he's a fighter, but he's in the fight business. And it's an entertainment business.
It's a show. It's a show.
And I'm a businessman and an entertainer. So it's like, oh, dude, fucking Steve-O, man. He's a fucking businessman. He's trying to make money.
Feed his stupid dog and everything.
I know.
All his animals and shit.
How
Fuck
dare
him,
you? How dare you?
But it's so important to find the balance, you know, between entertaining and promotion. And you know, like I agreed with that criticism, and it like on my main YouTube channel, I haven't promoted a fucking thing in like I don't know.
Don't
this
do-
whole year.
You should be like Bert Kreischer.
You shouldn't do
shameless
that.
promoter.
I
Shameless.
should. I should maybe, but yeah. Let's see. They just had an actual post in the thread, which I read, and I found it to be very measured and constructive in a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, somebody asked a question like. They wrote a lot of negativity about Steve-O. Like, can anyone explain why? You know, like, did he do something?
Yeah.
And the first one that was upvoted the most, like, had just like an itemized list, and it was like like He's become too much of a promotional shill. Another one, and I really agree with this one. On my tour, where like people are heckling, being generally disruptive, like. When you're on stage every night trying to perform a show and like that happens, it accumulates and like
they think they're part of the show at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it gets to a point kind of where it just accumulates. You're like, oh, you know, you try to go about it, but then it like, you know, you start getting burned out on the road, and then when that happens, like I just particularly handled it badly because I would take the position that like here I've got this whole room of people who came to see the show and they like worked for their money and they're paying to see they're paying to see this show and then you got like these people that are kind of undermining the experience or screwing it up.
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, like I find it disrespectful to all the other people when somebody does that, and so like I've always kind of drawn a hard line on that.
You should.
But the thing is, though, that when like my frustration about it like has accumulated to a point, like I've gone way overboard, and like
you lose the room.
Get him out of here, you know, and absolutely lose the room. And I mean, people describe like someone. You know, I read someone say that, like, because a fan screamed, "I love you, dude," that I threw him out. I have a really difficult time believing that that's true.
Of course.
But I absolutely agree that, I've gone overboard in trying to, police the shows.
That should be the club's job at a certain point.
I mean,
you should give a round up security and go be like, when I raise my hand like this, that means I've had enough.
Yeah,
or some kind of signal. Like, y'all do it. Don't make you be the fucking bad guy, you know?
Yeah.
Because
it was particularly eloquent too when people are like, man, really ironic when Steve was like, dude, like, don't, I'm out here like performing art.
I mean, you are.
I mean, I am, but it's like, and then they're like, wow, for a guy who spent like half his life, like, you know, being an absolute terror, you know, for all the drunken terror.
You were their cheerleader, dude.
Yeah, like, and now all of a sudden he's holier than that. I get it, man, and I totally deserve that criticism. I
quit reading Reddit.
Yeah, dude. But you know what? Like, to the extent that it's stuff that I agree with, like, yeah, well, you know, I'm really fucking committed to like being better at handling disruptive audience members.
Let me tell you something though. let me give you some advice. You can't let that get in your head and make decisions on what people say, because people aren't happy. A lot of people, unless they're miserable, that gives them a platform to be. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? You have to do you and unapologetically.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing. You know, like I acknowledge where I can work on stuff and be better, and I'm motivated to do that, and I'm not slowing down. And you know, like there's a lot of criticism that I just like. I can't do anything about it. I don't care about it, or I don't agree with it. And you know, I'm swinging for the fences in what I'm up to these days.
When we get done, Charlie, he's going to lay down on that couch.
When you're in the public eye, though, you're always going. You know this. You're always going to have fucking haters, dude, no matter what you do.
I mean, he had haters. You had haters on the first season of Jackass. They just weren't on Reddit yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? They're there.
But if you buy into that too much, it's one thing for constructive criticism, right?
Right.
But dude, I'm telling you, if you buy into that too much, especially with everything you have going on, eventually you're going to censor yourself because you're in your head. You're like, well, maybe I should do.
Right.
Always go with your gut and fuck everybody, man. Like, do what you feel is the way to handle shit, no matter what.
I feel like what bothers you is when you read your inner monologue.
Yeah.
When you read something that
Yeah.
you've thought 1,000 times, you're like, son of a bitch.
What's what you said? You said the ones you don't like are the ones that you're like,
Right.
shit, that's true.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, where you go?
Like when someone says something fucking terrible about me and I fucking agree with it. Yeah.
Well, hey,
You know, like
go ahead.
I mean, I'm just saying, like that's when it really bothers me, and like, and I gotta believe that this will like find its way into that Reddit, and you know what, like for all the stuff I've seen on Reddit, there's certain like. Certain times when someone's like, you know what, I'm done with this sub, I'm out, you know, and like people are like, yeah, like, you know, we really didn't need you to announce your departure.
Yeah, like,
you know, like it's so funny every time.
They showed you.
Yeah, but I'm just like I would expect to not know if this makes it into the Reddit, but like if it does and the people are listening, then I do want to give kudos to the to what was constructive and rational, measured criticism. I've accepted it. I've made a deliberate choice to work on the things that I do agree with, and I deleted the app. I got to be the fuck out of
That's awesome, dude.
That was
By the way, Greasy Pineapple 412, you're banned.
Dude,
I remember y'all's first tour when y'all were still doing stunts. I was touring in a band that would come in.
Don't try this at home.
Yes, we'd come in the night after y'all were at a club. The fucking staff was useless as tits on a bull, dude. Everybody, we'd be playing a song and one piece of like confetti would come down. I'd be like, God damn, man, it looked, the crowd, I mean, the room looked like you didn't want to ever do a show there ever again, dude.
It was that first tour was, to call it a shit show would be both an understatement and like right on the nose.
It happened a couple of times. The staff was like, he will not live to the end of this tour. And they had the night we had here last night again, he'll be dead, dude. There's no way.
Yeah, dude.
Talk about this new tour. I've luckily got to see it. But just talk about what you're putting on now for this tour.
I
man.
mean, like, again, and thank you for asking, man. I'm swinging for the fences on this one. Though we started out this podcast talking about, I just turned 50, you know, like the things that I've done, I've been at it with, you know, going out of my way to film wildly inappropriate shit, you know, so it's like, and every time I go out to do this, you know, to create a new bit, it's like, okay, the bar is so high, you know, like, and so I got it in my head, like during my last tour. And I thought my last tour that I was painted into a corner with nothing left to do. I'm like, what am I going to do after this? But then the wheels started turning, and I thought, what if my next tour, if it was called Steveo's Gone Too Far? And I just like, and I was like, I can get a fucking dick tattooed on my forehead. You know, that's the level of like just commitment and like, and again, like the laser tattoos, no big deal, but like.
But you got to, hold on, you got to say, how often do you get the opportunity to have Post Malone tattoo a dick on your forehead?
Yeah. Well, it's like it was supposed to happen as part of the last Jackass movie.
Yeah.
And it was scheduled and everything. And Knoxville called it off at the last minute. He said, "There's too many dicks in the movie." Like, already. Definitely not wrong. Definitely not wrong. Like that was, you know, that so many dicks in that movie that would make a boat of sailors uncomfortable. but yeah. So that was you know, scheduled to happen for Jackass, and that created a line of communication with Post Malone's team.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I reached out to his team, and we got together and filmed like an unrelated tattoo thing where we actually tattooed each other.
Yeah.
And that was in 2021. And then it's just been, you know, the plan. Like we had him on our podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll totally still do it." You know, like it was something that he just kind of got a kick out of. And I reached out, you know, like maybe a month or two ago now, and I was just like, "Hey, man, I turn 50 on June 13th, and I see you guys are in Bonnaroo, like close to my house on June 14th. And I'm really just trying to lash out, you know, like it's like the whole thing, like, oh, he's 50 and now like this, like for a 50-year-old, just kind of sad. But it's also like, I'm sad. You know, I'm lashing out. That's kind of what the whole thing is. I think that might be a new joke. I think I
It's
just
so on the nose.
yeah, yeah, I'm sad. You know, and you know, so my Gone Too Far tour is like really just kind of nuclear. You know, like I came up with the idea a few years ago to get a boob job and just like, you know, like film a bunch of, you know, just like film a bunch of really legitimately funny hidden camera pranks.
Yeah.
Like with me in disguise, in various disguises, like, and then revealing like who I actually am, and like just funny endurance stunts and like whatever. And I've just been so particularly in love with that idea because the comedy, the opportunity for comedy, I believe, is absolutely
Yes.
there. And like it's the quintessential like steveo, like that level of commitment. I'm only gonna have these tits for like max 2 months,
Right.
So
and then they're coming out.
So 2 months.
Yeah, and I spoke with the doctors, and like I said to them candidly, I was like, you know, the one thing I'm really like freaked out about and bummed out about and would back out of this over
Yeah.
is if like I'm just gonna be a mess afterwards.
That's what I was thinking.
You know,
Your skin's gonna stretch, dude.
well, it's going under the muscle, and you know, like, and I was like, and the doctors are completely unfazed. They're like 2 months, it comes out, like
It's gonna be
absolutely no issue.
good. All right. So
You know,
look,
so
so I'm gonna make a bet with you right now.
Okay.
Okay. What doctor are you gonna use? Do you have a? You don't have to say his
I've
name,
got the
but-
consensus absolute best in the world at giving men gorgeous boobs.
Okay. Here's what we're gonna do.
There's more than a guy.
Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. So X5, if you go through this,
I mean, dude,
X5 will pay for that
oh wow.
and pay
That's
to have
insane.
them taken out.
Like be careful because it's.
I'm not. No, I'm saying it on camera.
Hey, Steve, hey, don't tempt him. He ain't messing
No,
around.
dude.
I
I'm
mean,
not
dude,
fucking
we're
around.
like we are. See, it's June 24th
Yep.
now. How many days until?
Dude, it's right around the corner.
Yeah, I mean that's when it's happening. And
Oh,
like,
it's already booked.
Oh my God! Look, I just so happen to have my checkbook with me. It's not a problem.
Dude, I will absolutely,
serious.
dude. It's going down, and that's the thing too. Like, and dude, that's actually means a lot to me. Thanks.
Hey, just trying to help you out.
Yeah.
What size? What size
I
are
have
you
a
going?
confirmed D cup.
Oh,
No fucking way,
Confirmed D cup,
dude.
and that's kind of like the thing. Being like there are two factors at play here. Number one, like the bar is so fucking high, so for me to raise it, like it kind of calls for me to actually just push things too far.
Yeah.
Like in the spirit of gone too far, like getting a boob job, nuclear move, like all kinds of people are gonna just fucking hate on it like crazy, and so many people are gonna know about it that I'm just like kind of looking at it like a numbers game,
Yeah.
and like and to your point, I gotta not fucking let
Worry
the people in
about
my
it.
head.
Yeah.
I fucking think this is. I believe in the comedy. I think that it's like so fucking like I've always been a body
hilarious.
modification guy, like with my whole back tattoo, my butt piercing, like body modification has been part of my fucking deal. It's been a lane in my art since the beginning. And like this level of commitment to this bit, like how fucking how nuts it is. I believe in it, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
You said you're
We're
gonna
going to
do it
be
on-
your tit sponsor.
I'm reasonably sure that at a public level, I have not disclosed this anywhere. So there's your exclusive.
There we go.
At least I gave him something in return.
It was either that or a hand job.
Yeah, one of the two.
Hey, will you ask the number one male boob doctor in the world? Would it be dangerous if there was an X5 bumper sticker on one of the tits?
One of the tits.
Oh my god. Okay, so
Right
my
in the middle,
God.
like it's a hologram.
right.
Like,
now the whole go too far, be nuclear, and get maximum attention, and not let people in my head just do it because I
got
believe
to.
I believe that's my art. I fucking made that call, and I don't give a fuck. I actually like. My merch team, they were like, hey, you know, we should design a new skateboard. You know, like I saw autographed skateboards on the road, and they were like, we should design a new skateboard. And like, what do you think? And I was like, you know, like, I was like, if there's some kind of a design where I can just like that can convey, like I just don't give a fuck, you know, like say whatever you want, like I'm just done, just I don't give a fuck, you know, and they were like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, do you mean like you don't give a fuck about this or that? And I was like, no, and it's like, let me put it this way: how about if the skateboard design conveyed that the entire world can suck my dick. and you know, it's pretty outrageous. Like, but we've got this design of like me with a dick tattooed on my head, and this globe is big enough, like with me bobbing my head on it. It's like so the world is sucking my dick, and the world comes up high enough where like it obscures, like it doesn't show if I have tits or I don't. It works in both situations. I don't know. I don't know. Like it's something that it's something I came up with, and I worked with my graphic designer and ended up with something I think is really fucking cool.
Your merch game is sick, man. It's insane. The merch.
I
He was
ended up,
telling me.
ended up with something I think is really fucking cool. And again, like going too far, don't let people in my head. And I'm 50, you know, so it's like kind of like the theme of it is like, dude, like Jackass is a young man's game. Maybe I gotta like really finally, you know, like I'm 50. Maybe I've gone too far in chronological years, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty literal.
But to tie those things together, like it's a simple fact that I was none too pleased to look in the mirror and discover dimples under my developing man boobs. You know, like it's something that just happens with age, and I actually have fucking dimples. And I thought, God damn it, that's funny. Like, Father Time, you motherfucker. You're gonna give me man boobs, huh? You fucking asshole. I will show you. and that there is why, that there is specifically why I'll be able to fit in full D's, I believe, is because I've got this like kind of They had a word for it, the doctor, but it's basically like elasticity. Like I've just got. You know,
dude, we're totally going to take you bra shopping and everything.
Dude, I had a whole creative meeting with Johnny Knoxville and Jeff Tremaine over just like tit ideas. Yeah. And
just picturing you. What are you gonna wear on stage? What kind of shirt?
Well, that's the thing. And back to your question was about this tour.
Bodysuits.
The tour that I'm on right now is by definition not the Stevo's Gone Too Far tour. Yeah. What I'm doing now is workshopping. Yeah. And candidly, like I've gone back and forth about the fucking boob job thing because like I'm a sensitive guy. I'm like fucking. I've been like you know, some days I'm like, oh, the world can suck my dick. Other days I'm like, oh my god, like what they're gonna say mean things about me, you know? And then I call my friends and they're like, what are they gonna say? You're an idiot. Does
that really hurt?
It's like what's new here? Like, oh, Steve-O did something crazy. Like, and so that helps. But I wanted to book these shows that I'm doing right now as a way of like really like figuring out how all of this stuff is going to work with an audience. And there's some stuff for the Gone Too Far tour that I've already done, and I'm working on that material. And for the stuff that I haven't done, what I've put together is a retrospective exploration of things that undeniably went too far in the past. And that affords me the ability to screen footage and tell stories that are not really common knowledge because they went too far. They didn't make it into the public consciousness. So it's a mixture of like what's gone too far in the past and what I've done so far for the Gone Too Far tour, and really like exploring the material of the stuff that's yet to happen. And it's all rolled in together in one multimedia show.
So everything's like every show's different on this tour.
Every
right
show
now.
So far, everything is completely fucking different. Yeah.
Like you can buy tickets to two nights in a row and see something totally different.
I mean, there are people who went to multiple shows in Huntsville and saw like completely fucking different shows. And that's cool. And I genuinely believe I'm so stoked to get you on the show tonight, Cassio, because you'll see it's completely fucking.
Oh, you're
no, I mean not completely different, but wildly different.
I mean, being in the comedy business and entertainment, just seeing you, just like I said, I've only seen 3 shows of it, and just seeing you kind of figure out, oh, I'm going to change this next time. Tomorrow night, I'm going to flip these. Like that was the beauty for me, was seeing the creativity part, because that's how the sausage is made, whatever. But it was just seeing you so much poured into this, man, and taking it so seriously and ready. It's just amazing. I can't wait to see the final product or whatever.
He doesn't give charity.
No.
I'm like, he doesn't give charity compliments.
No.
Well,
I'm telling you.
I appreciate that. And in one sense, like, I'm throwing myself into the fire to figure out what my next tour really is. And that it's by design. That's the plan. And it's the only way that I think you can really do it. I think that's how comedy works. You just got to get out there and try it.
Correct. You don't know until you try it.
Right. And with my bucket list show, I filmed each bit and then went to the local comedy club and took like 15-minute sets for each chunk of the show and then strung them all together. And for this one, I kind of can't jump on like jump on the roster of the Comedy Store, because I need the crowd to be my crowd, you know.
It is. That was also awesome to see, is so much of those people, if not all, but vast majority are there for you. And like I told you the first night, I was blown away. I went and stood in the back. And even if there's a celebrity comic up there, there's a lot of times where you lose kind of the back of the crowd where they just get chatty. Yeah. They're not up close, so they're detached. And sitting in the back of this packed comedy club, like everyone was laser focused. There was no chatter. And it was like that. I was like, dude, he's got them so good. Like that's the hardest part, is to keep them for an hour and a half locked into you. And that means they're being entertained. Yeah. So I was blown away.
Thank you for that. And I think that a distinctly even harder part is to walk out there. Like when they've come to see Steve-O, a lot of my people, they're not familiar with comedy clubs, so they think like, and then the house makes the announcement, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Steve-O. They're all going crazy, and then the next voice of God says, and now coming to the stage is Matt Cassio, and I'm asking myself, why would they do that? Like a lot of my crowd, I think, doesn't know how comedy clubs work. Yeah. They don't expect there to be an opening act. Mm-hmm. And man, you walked out there and got them right away and kept them for 20 minutes. They're howling.
He's so modest.
They're a fun crowd, and I'm being honest. We're just sucking each other's dick now. But
don't choke. Don't choke, guys.
When I brought you on stage, like that's the loudest pop I've ever brought a headliner. Wow. I mean, your crowd was like, boom.
I'm not sure about all that, but
it was crazy.
But dude, like I generally don't like having openers in the past. Like I've been conflicted about it, like because you know, like you come to a local spot and the guy's talking about like his grandma, and it's just like how it just feels like it doesn't fit in,
Right? Yeah.
to it. And like, so I started having like guys from my crew open for me, like my guy Scott Randolph would come on and do. He'd start by showing what his heart rate was on his Apple Watch. It's like 180 beats per minute because he's so goddamn nervous, and I'm making him do it. And he comes out and tells a story about how like we met in sex addict rehab, and it's like juicy stuff, you know. But he hated doing that, and then like I had different guys, and then we started doing this pre-show. Which the pre-show is like, you know, warming up the crowd with like, you know, all kinds of, you know, content, and mixed into the content is like, I've got this great skateboard, like buy this. Oh, I've got this hot sauce, buy this. And you know, we ran that for the first 2 nights in Huntsville, and then I was like, yo, dude.
Felt icky too.
I just feel like that pre-show with the buy this and buy that is just rubbing people the wrong way. Not even particularly selling merch. And sure enough, like we killed that pre-show, so there's no more infomercial. And and we sold exactly the same amount of fucking merch without it. You know, like so. It was just not helping, and it was doing harm. And so, like, I'm really happy to have struck the infomercial from my tour, from moving this forward. And I hope, working with opening acts, that people will be as fucking funny as you are, Casio.
Well, I appreciate it. Do we got calls to get to?
Yeah, that's
what
we
are you
need
doing
to,
over here?
I'm fixing to write a check
getting
for
ready for-
tits. I've already got tits in the memo.
The four already says
I
tits.
really do. I've got in the memo it says tits. I'm not fucking around.
Dude, I'm impressed as hell by your compound. Like, the first thing I asked you, I was like, "This is your place?" And like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, like
He
I'm
buys
in the,
tits.
I buy men tits.
yeah, I'm in the wrong business.
We
over
actually have a
here.
tit factory in the back.
Yeah, but dude, like, I'm overwhelmingly impressed by the whole compound, by this whole operation. You guys are damn good at podcasting too.
Thank you.
We're trying.
It was rough in the beginning. We had to learn not to talk over each other. That's like one of the big ones. What'd you do for this tour? Go stack a bunch of Wild One episodes, or
we stack them to what we can, and then we do like strike missions. You know, like fly into a place. But on the podcasting thing, the MVP award goes to you for saying Punami.
you don't clip that, man. I'm out.
Let's go to the phones real quick. X5 Podcast Advice Line 4124 Advice. Eric, let's hear our first call.
Yo, Steve-O, how you doing, man? This is Carson Taylor. Quick question. I'm 8 months sober. I know you are also a sober guy as well, and I was just wondering what you do to keep your head on a swivel when you're in an environment that is surrounded by drugs and alcohol, but you're also in that environment for work. So just wondering what you got to say about that. And, man, love all the stuff you do. Yeah, have a good one.
Right on.
First of all, that could be one of our first serious questions.
Yeah.
Ever. in the
And
history of the-
seriously, that was. I mean, I kept waiting on him to go, and I like to jerk off constantly, or whatever.
That is the first real question we've ever had.
All right.
First off, congrats on your 8 months of sobriety.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
Congrats, man.
With respect to being in environments where people are drinking and you're working, the literature for the official sobriety recovery literature says that we don't try to hide from alcohol. We just have a kind of a litmus test. You ask yourself, do I have a legitimate purpose for being in this environment? And like for me, I was newly sober and I was performing in comedy clubs and there's literally alcohol everywhere. And even before I was performing in comedy clubs, when I first got sober, like a go-to activity for me going out at night, I couldn't go to bars anymore. I couldn't go to nightclubs. I just had no legitimate reason to be there. But I would go take in comedy club shows. And whenever I did that, I thought, man, I gotta get into this. I gotta be on the stage instead of just sitting here in the crowd. And that was a big thing that motivated me to get into comedy. But yeah, I'm really pretty comfortable as long as I know I've got a legitimate reason to be where I'm at. And also, if I'm doing the things that we do in recovery to protect our sobriety. And the danger zones, for me, and I'm not being complacent here on any level, but I recognize the danger zones not as when I'm in the presence of people drinking. I do think it's a danger zone with people smoking pot, because then I'm breathing it in and I've got like the actual smokes going into my body, and like that just creeps me out. So I don't want to be around that. But the real danger zone for me isn't like what's going on around me; it's what's going on in my head. Yeah. And because this is a disease, whether you're a drug addict, whether you're an alcoholic, the disease is centered in our mind, and it's just like it's characterized by just like being so uncomfortable, like just by default. So like it's called restless, irritable discontent. Just like something. That's
a good description. Yeah.
There's just something that makes us so uncomfortable that we can't stand it, and we have to reach for something to soothe that.
Yeah.
And that's why the drugs and the alcohol, the sex, the food, the gambling, the shopping, all of that isn't actually the disease. That's actually the cure. That's the treatment. That's like we are just by default like unbearably uncomfortable, and we need something to soothe that discomfort. So like for me, the treatment for the disease is to get to the root of what is making you uncomfortable. It's to speak up about it. Number one, you got to diffuse whatever is going on that's telling you you're so uncomfortable. Get to the root of it and address that. And that's what the 12 steps are all about. And that's why like we have support systems, and that's why we got to speak up. So I'm less concerned about people drinking alcohol around me than I am about speaking up when my head is just so scary. Yeah. And like clearly I've done a lot of speaking up today, and I really consider that to be a function of treating my alcoholism.
Do you have somebody to call if you get tempted?
Absolutely, yeah. I don't necessarily like it doesn't like manifest as like, ooh, I really want to get high. It's more like, I don't know, like I just catastrophize like terrible situations in my head, and I'm just scared, and I'm like, and I got to speak up about it. First thing is I got to speak up about it, and whatever the issue is, I got to not dwell in morbid worry and fear. Rather, I've got to outline the appropriate indicated action to address the concern.
Right.
And that's how we ended up on deleting Reddit, I bet.
Yeah,
seriously.
For sure.
Yeah,
and like the next appropriate action, like again, like stuff that I'm not happy with, like whatever I can do to address it. That's what I'm about.
All right, 2024 Steve-O is a different dude.
Yeah, great.
Built different now.
Best advice that we've ever given on this podcast.
I know. Yeah.
We got time for one more call, and then we got to roll because Steve's got a show tonight.
I'm not even tripping.
Yeah, this question's for Steve-O. This is Drew. Just wondering, what's the best way to remove a gerbil from your butthole?
There they are.
There it is. Hey-o.
I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
It's a bicycle pump.
Yes,
You just gotta cut off the thing with the big valve at the top, so it's just the tube.
Yeah.
So then you can squeeze that tube past the hamster, and then just start pumping like you mean it.
And blow it out your ass.
Yeah, you'll think it's not coming out at first, but then all of a sudden it goes flying.
Oh my God. Well, thank you so much. So Steve, where can everybody find your merch, your hot sauce, by the way?
You think it's not coming out.
Yeah.
It comes out.
The hub for everything Steve-O is steveo.com. And I'm super happy to to announce that at the top of steveo.com, my last multimedia comedy special in all of its triple X-rated glory streams absolutely for free. And I have no higher goal than to get as many people to watch that, because it can't live on YouTube. Yeah. It's literally got full-on pornography in it. Like it's literally triple X rated. It's I believe, you know, the culmination and just the crown jewel of like so many years of art, and it's what my comedy's about. You know, it's not going to be for everybody, but if you're a fan of Jackass, if you're a fan of Steveo, I think you're going to absolutely fucking love it. And it's for free at steveo.com. That's what I'd like to promote.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Everybody check that out. Make sure you go see him on tour. He's got a great tour going all over the place. Go check out. Yeah.
Sorry, I just rudely interrupted.
No, you're good.
Doing pretty well up until then. There's one feed that I still really do like to look at, you know, and it's Twitter. X. You know, like for some reason, I like generally don't have bad experiences with scrolling through my mentions feed. And whenever I'm on a podcast, I haven't done this in a long time, but whenever I'm on a podcast and I feel like, man, that was meaningful. That was, you know, like a good one. And I really feel like this one was a good one. And I'm always like really in my head thinking about like, oh, but how many people really stick around to the very end, you know, like with the retention graphs, you know? And so sometimes when I feel a podcast was awesome, I like to end it by saying, if you're still listening, shoot me a tweet on the X, because that's something I will actually see. You know, I check out the X mentions feed. And to those people who stick around, I always want to just express gratitude. Yeah, and to you guys as well, man. Like I really like what you got going on here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Yeah. And make sure to check out Stevo's Wild Ride. Great. I absolutely love, and I'm being genuine. I'm a fan of that podcast. I love it. You got great guests, great interaction, just a cool thing going on.
Well, thanks, man. We just had a meeting about how to kind of refresh it a little bit, you know, like I took some constructive criticism about the podcast too, and I met with my team and we all just kind of put our heads together, and I think that in the coming days, coming weeks, that the podcast is gonna feel you know, energized, and
that's good.
I'm excited for that.
That's good. When we break, you're hearing it here first. I literally am writing you a check for your tips.
and you're a saint. You're an absolute fucking saint.
It's a tit check, baby.
We're getting the tit check. It's so amazing. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Steve-O, thank you so much, dude, for being in the studio with us today.
You. Yeah, leave a comment on our algorithm. Please get this YouTube cooking.
That's right. And tune in soon for an update on Steve-O's tits. This should be cool. Love you guys. Thank you so much.